Hello. Thank you so much for joining me for this yoga session. Hopefully, you're staying well and taking care of yourself. And definitely, if you're doing yoga, you're taking care of yourself. So, this session should be pretty easy, not too taxing. So, make sure you've got all the things you need in order to support yourself, a yoga mat or as much room as a yoga mat. I'm sitting on a blanket. For support, I've got blocks in order to help bring the floor up. I've also got something to drink in order to keep myself hydrated. So make sure that you take care of yourself as we move through this practice. So find that comfortable seat, hopefully something that's not going to have your toes and feet be too tingly. If they get tingly, maybe don't have your legs so close up near you. Have them extended out in front of you. Having that tingly toes and feet, I don't think is really good. And you really can't concentrate on your breath when you've got those tingly toes and tingly feet. Let your breath become full and deep. You can let your eyes close, or you can have just a slight gaze a few feet in front of you, not really focused on anything. And you are unhooking from all the stuff that's going on in the world. And you are just becoming aware of your breath. It's all you're paying attention to. The time you take to reset and process is very, very important. Once you start to reap the benefits after doing it, you will want to keep doing it. And if it does seem harder sometimes than others to find that connection to your breath, know that that's okay. In fact, you are practicing not judging good or bad. Try to just be aware. It is hard at first, and like I said, it gets easier with time. And so that breath is full and deep. It's filling up your body on the inhale, and then it's releasing and leaving fully on the exhale. You're practicing that taking and then that sending, which is so important in order to keep you at your best. Constantly, you are being aware of what is going around you, and you are only taking in what supports you. At the same time, you're aware of what's going on, and you're not taking in what doesn't support you. Start to build that three-part yoga breath, the lower third, middle third, upper third of your lungs. And then release fully, upper, middle, lower. And let that three-part yoga breath help to keep you anchored in your body, in the present moment. Really feel yourself in your body as you press down into your mat. Feel that connection to the floor, the building, the ground, the building's built into, and then the world that connects us all. And then lift yourself right up out of that place of connection and stretch yourself up into that space around you that you are meant to take up. Breathing full and deep. So you are both the support and the lift. You're always pressing down. You're always lifting up from within. Bring awareness to right behind your navel, in front of your tail. You can let your breath be full and deep as you do that three-part yoga breath. Press that navel into the space in front of you. And then the breath goes into the middle third. Feel those ribs move up and apart. And then the breath goes into the heart. Lift the chest. And And then exhale, heart and chest relax, ribs move down and together, and then you pull that navel back and up into your body. And then the inhale happens again. You fill up, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. That breath is your life force. Use that breath if you find yourself distracted or if you find yourself challenged. Return to your breath. Keeping that upper girdle engaged as you reach, so that heart lifted, shoulder blades pull down. Bring those arms up over your head. Exhale, pull down into your heart center. So feel the whole arm and a little bit at your neck be engaged as you do this movement. Inhaling and exhaling a couple more times. And then pause with those hands right at your heart. Keep with that engagement. So you are keeping those shoulders out of your ears, feeling this all around your shoulder girdle. So you feel that engagement in that body, feeling yourself lift yourself up into that space. And then gently turn towards that right knee and dip down. And then pull up through neutral to dip to the left knee. And of course, if your legs, I meant to say this, if they're tingly or you want to stretch them out, take a moment to do that, or don't have them be as crossed or as pulled up to your body. Just let yourself bow side to side. Really feel yourself press down with that lower body, and then lift with your whole self as you reach over each knee. And then you're going to pause in neutral. Let your arms come down. Let that engagement go. And start to do that windshield wiper to wake up your legs a little bit from that seated position. You're not holding yourself on your limbs, you're holding yourself in your trunk. Those arms are just back there to help keep you propped up a little bit. So keep lifting yourself up into the space around you. Your feet, your knees are as close to each other and yourself as feels good. Inhaling and exhaling, and then let those knees drop over to the right, and this is a good place for some blocks. Have them on either side of that right knee. Try not to stack your foot and your knee on top of each other, so your right foot and left knee not stacked, and you're flexing your feet. And then feel yourself press down with that left glute. It might not hit the floor. Mine doesn't hit the floor, but I'm engaging and pressing down. So I'm anchoring, and I'm going to inhale and lift that heart. Exhale, pull that navel up into your body and dip your nose down. So the inhale is the pull up, and then the exhale is the round down. Don't strain your elbows. Keep those shoulders out of your ears. This is a slow movement, does not have to be fast. The more you activate by keeping those legs engaged, the more you're going to reap all the benefits. And then pause in that upright position. Let your blocks come to the other side. Pick those knees up. Let them go side to side a couple times just to have a little reset. And then everything comes over to the other side. Right knee, left foot, not stacked on top of each other. And flex your feet. Ooh, that hip doesn't want to. Ooh, make sure you feel comfortable, and always feel you know, what works best for you. So if your legs don't feel really good close to your body, they don't have to be. So now you are a little bit over that left knee and you're staying lifted. Press that glute down so you are engaging your girdles. Keep that heart lifted, those blades gently tucked and engaged. And you're going to inhale, exhale, dip down. So this is little cat and cow movement. This is called dolphin. Your arms are, your elbows are bending as you need them. They're not hyperextending. Your hands are gently pressing on the floor or blocks. Stay with your breath. Inhale and exhale. Few more moves. Stay with your breath, and then you're going to pause in that neutral position. Once again, bring those legs back into that reset position where you're dropping the knees side to side, inhaling and exhaling, and then making sure you've got that cushion for your knees. Bring yourself around onto your knees and set yourself up for your first child. So walk those knees as wide apart as feels good. Press your whole self back. Reach your whole self forward. If you use the blocks, it's just going to be a little bit more intense. Make sure you're not hurting your elbows. Breathe full and deep. Take up all of the space. So try to really spread yourself out, not just reaching forward, reaching back, but also reaching to the right and the left. Pay attention to that place behind your navel, in front of your tail. Inhaling and exhaling. Letting your arms be wherever you can move them. There is no rules. It's all about whatever feels good to you. Rest your third eye on your stacked hands if that's what works. Inhale and exhale. And after a few breaths, you're lifting yourself into that stable table. So walk those knees so they are right underneath those hips, and then have those hands be right underneath those shoulders, and you're holding yourself right behind your navel in front of your tail. And before we go into the full cat and cow, do a few pelvic tilts so that low back is pulled into that place of support. So that's where you're pressing through those glutes. Pull your hip flexors, your front body, lower front body, pull it up. And then shoulders, pull those blades together. Let the elbows bend as much as you need. And then press up through. Feel those blades engaged and tuck into their little sockets. So this is how you engage your sockets, how you activate your girdles. You're then going to hold yourself in that stable position, and then your cat and cow starts in your middle back. So drop right underneath your chest down, sway your middle back, and then press yourself up, rounding up through that middle back. Inhale and exhale. Have the tops of your feet on the mat. Breathing full and deep. Do not hyperextend those elbows. Keep pressing evenly into the floor. And then after a few, you're going to pause in your neutral position. You can always rest back in your child. Keep holding and lifting yourself right there behind your navel. And then to start with, send that right leg back. Keep the ball of the right foot down and let yourself, you've got your girdles engaged, and you're just doing a little rock. I should take my sock off. I could feel it's not the best. So, but you're letting yourself rock. You're protecting those shoulders. Inhale and exhale. And then you're going to pause in that neutral position. Before you lift, I want you to walk that left hand a little bit forward. Keep your shoulders engaged. So now it's your left arm and your right leg are reaching in opposite directions. Really press that left hand forward, press that right leg back. Keep those hips square and engaged and even, and then let that right leg pop up. Let that left arm float up, breathing full and deep. Keep awareness in that whole leg. Don't let the hip. So keep pointing the navel down towards the floor. And then you're going to bring that right leg down, that left arm down. Walk yourself as wide as feels good and press yourself back into your child. Breathing full and deep. I'm going to take my little socks off. Make sure that you are doing what feels good to you. Lift yourself back up into your stable table. Stay with that awareness, pressing back through that left heel. Keep those hips square. So keep pulling that left hip. Don't let it be flying up. Try to keep pulling it square. And we did a few of those rocking movements where you're coming over those hands, those arms. Keep those shoulders engaged. Keep lifting that crown towards the wall in front of you. Inhaling and exhaling, and then you pause. And then you're going to walk those right arms forward. Keep your shoulders square and engaged. And feel that sensation as you press into both arms. Lift yourself up at that navel, and then when it feels all right to you, let that left leg float, let that right arm float. Inhaling and exhaling, press through that heel. Keep trying to bring the toes and the top of the knee down towards the floor. Keep pulling that kneecap into your thigh, and then you're going to rest back in your child, completely reset. Inhale and exhale, breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. Make sure you're drinking water as you need it. Inhaling and exhaling. We're going to be on our knees for a little bit longer, so make sure you've got that cushion. You should never be hating it because your knees are painful. If it can feel better with some cushion, try to bring some cushion. And so then back up to that table where we're going to come up onto our knees. And so you're holding yourself right there at your lower girdle here, and you're lifting yourself up. So this is a little bit easier to feel that awareness of how you're holding yourself in that lower girdle. Press your knees. They're right underneath your hips, and you're trying to drop that framework and that muscle. So this is where you see how the muscle and the framework work together in order to help you. It's almost like you're sitting back. It's just like you're sitting back in your, right here on your seat, and then you should feel no strain on your low back because your low back is doing no work. It is there so you can be mobile and be able to rotate side to side as you keep those hips nice and square. Inhale and exhale. You're just having your hands at your sides or at your hips, or you can also have them at your heart. Keep trying to pull that tail down as you pull those hip flexors up. A couple more breaths, and then we're going to reach up above. If this does not feel good on your shoulders, don't do it. We're reaching up and pulling down. Inhaling and exhaling. And then pause, hands at your heart, and just let yourself start to tip back just a titch. Maybe challenge your balance As you keep trying to lift your heart up, keep pulling those hip flexors, breathing full and deep, inhaling and exhaling, and then let yourself come back. You're sitting back, right? This is where you're moving in this lower trunk as you come back into your child. Now, if you did have your knees underneath your hips, if you like to pull them apart for your child, because it just feels, I feel, marvelous to let that body come down in between those legs, inhaling and exhaling, staying with your breath, how you feel, always paying attention to that, and then back up into that table position. If you do not want to come into downward dog, you don't have to. You can stay in table or child, but if you would like to do that full body stretch, you're keeping yourself lifted right there behind your navel. Keep those knees bent. Keep pulling those kneecaps up into your thighs. Definitely those shoulder blades are tucked in and you are pulling those ears out and those shoulders away from each other. Inhale and exhale. Keep those elbows nice and not hyperextended. Remember, drop to your knees at any time. Breathing full and deep. We're going to come to standing, and if you want to come down to hands and knees and step up, or if you want to walk up, and you can also have props like blocks or a chair or a heavy piece of furniture, you're coming into that forward fold position. So play around with coming up on your balls and your heels. Keep your knees really bent and then lift your whole self up out of that lower body. Letting yourself move however feels good. Breathing full and deep. And after a few dangles, you're going to then bring yourself into that forward fold. Prepare to come halfway up. So make sure you're putting the weight in your back body. You are going to inhale halfway, flat back. Hands can reach back by your hips, or you can leave them right above your knees. Take another inhale and then exhale. Come forward into that forward fold. So we're holding the pose but never holding the breath. And where I cue the breath is really, because I try to cue the breath, the exhale when you're coming forward, pull that navel in, see if you can get a little deeper. Inhale when you lift in order to help bring you up. So inhale, halfway, flat back. Exhale for the floor. Inhale, halfway, flat back. Exhale for the floor or the blocks. The next time we come up, we're going to come up into that great big reverse swan dive. Unless you're like, no thanks, then come up halfway, hands right above your knees. Press yourself up into that squat position and then stand and then reach those arms up over your head as much as feels good. Coming into as much back bend as feels good. Inhaling and exhaling. Finding yourself on 2 feet, pressing into the ground with your whole self. Find the balls and the heels right underneath those hips. Lift your piggies, spread them as wide as feels comfortable, and then bring them down 1 piggy at a time for a gentle grip. Your kneecaps come up into those thighs. And then this is where you've already experienced this kneeling. Now you're doing it standing. Drop that framework. Engage those muscles, back and front body, that whole lower girdle. Feel it work together. Navel dimples down. You are a solid base. And you then are lifting and rising up out of that solid base. So feel yourself through the whole body do that. Your heart comes up. Your shoulders come down. So here's where the front and the upper body are always lifting towards up. They're always going to the sky. And then your back body and your lower body is tethering you to behind you to the ground. Inhaling and exhaling. Your arms are wherever. You are breathing full and deep. This is mountain. Inhaling and exhaling. Make sure that you are staying In your engaged girdles, hands are going to come to your heart and you're going to sit back. This is just a bend of the knees. Send those hips back, but keep that girdle engaged. So your girdles are still engaged as you are sitting back in an awkward chair, breathing full and deep. Really engage those balls and heels. Your arms, of course, can reach down by your sides. If you don't like leaving them at your heart, or if you want to add a little bit more of a challenge, have them reach above your head. Take another inhale, sink a little bit lower, and then let yourself press and reach into as much of a back bend as feels good. Hands at your heart, navel, one of each, whatever feels good. Breathing full and deep. Stay in that mountain. Notice how you feel. Staying with that awareness of your whole self, pressing down. You are holding yourself in that lower girdle. You're keeping your hands at your hips to start with. Press back into that squat. Inhale and exhale. Your hands can really go wherever. If you've got a wall or something next to you, it might even be helpful as you shift a little bit into that left leg, but it really shouldn't feel like you put the whole weight on that left leg because you are holding yourself in your trunk. You are just letting that right leg swing. Try to keep those knees close to you. If you don't like that swing, don't do it. It's just something to do. You're gripping gently with those toes, not too much, those left toes. Couple more. And then that right foot comes down. Press into both legs. Lift. Reach. Find that great big stretch as much as feels good. And sit back. Hands to those hips. Find that left leg in that swing mode, breathing full and deep. Stay lifted. You're holding yourself in your trunk, not in your leg. And then both feet down, press, stand, reach. Hands come to your heart, belly, one of each, out to the side. Notice how you feel, breathing full and deep. Now, I like to use blocks for this next thing. It helps me find that balance. So you'll see me use these blocks. You definitely can have a wall or a chair or another piece of heavy furniture. So you're sitting back in your squat, and then you're going to pick up that right leg and you're draping it on top of that left leg. So you're squeezing those thighs together. Try to keep, now some people can wrap that foot around that thigh or around that shin. I can't, so that's why I have it on the block. It also helps to keep me balanced. I keep putting that weight in that lower trunk. That's what's holding you up as you squeeze those inner thighs together. Let those arms come wide. Now, of course, if you do not want to add this, don't. But if you want to, you're coming into eagle arms, left arm underneath right. So right arm is nestled in that left arm. Press down with that booty, lift with that heart. Take a big inhale and then exhale. You're coming off that eagle stretch, breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. Notice how you feel, and then you are preparing for the other side, sitting back, and then getting that left leg into that place of support as you sit back in that booty, and then lift the heart, and then only if you want to bring that left arm on top of the right arm, and you don't even have to do your hands like that. You can bring your hands to your shoulders. Keep breathing. Squeeze those inner thighs together. Drop those booties and lift those hearts. Inhaling and exhaling, and then you're going to let that go. Notice what it feels like. Breathing full and deep. And then make sure you've got room, if you do not want to come down to a downward dog from the back of your space, you can just come down to child. But I love to hang in that downward dog for as we transition down. So if that feels good to you, hang in that downward dog. Feel that great big full body stretch as you lift yourself up a little bit higher. Take a couple more breaths and then make your way down to that child, resting completely. Feel yourself in your whole body. Make sure that you are drinking water and taking care of yourself and staying with your breath. And then lift yourself up to come down onto your bellies. Bend those knees. You can have your face looking down. You can have one cheek down. Inhaling and exhaling. You're doing all that same engagement though, that same engagement with that lower trunk. You want to pull that tail down. You want to pull those hip flexors up and into the floor right beneath you. Have those legs extend long down your mat and have them be really active, coming right out of their hip sockets. And then your hands are going to reach down towards those feet. Don't strain elbows or fingers. And I'm going to recommend that you just keep looking down at the mat. I'm going to have my face turned so I can talk to the camera. We're going to isolate each glute and we're going to lift at the glute. So leave the right leg where it is and let that left leg start to lift from that left hip flexor, left glute, that left socket. So your left knee comes off the floor maybe. Part or all of your left thigh comes up, but not your left hip flexor. And then keep that right foot down until you bring that left foot down and then isolate the other side, lifting. Keep that hip flexor pressing in your 9 and 3. And then let the right side come down and then lift the left side again. And it helps to really keep trying to stretch your whole body away. Let the other side come up. Keep stretching toes and crown away. And then let yourself completely reset. Bend those knees. Windshield wiper back and forth. Bring those legs back behind you. Bring your elbows right underneath your shoulders. And then you are pulling yourself through that the arms as you let those legs extend actively out behind you, so you keep your low back. This helps to protect your low back. If you activate those legs, you're squeezing the glutes, but not the bejesus is out of them. It is a framework and muscle engagement, always together, and stretch. Only letting that chin lift up. If you want to do the pout, this is where you send your, you know how to pout, this is where you send your lower lip past your upper lip. It's not pretty. That's what I'm doing, I'm pouting. But feel that stretch underneath your chin. If it's too much, don't do it. And then undo the pout. Lift yourself a little bit so those elbows can splay. Keep that lower body really heavy as you lengthen down. Still feel that stretch as you're coming down. And then bend those knees, windshield wiper back and forth. All right, back up into those elbows. Here's where that right lower arm can come parallel to the short edge of your space, and then bend that left knee. Try not to strain as you reach back for that left ankle. Make sure that right leg is nice and active to keep you supported. And then gently start to rotate your heart towards that right bicep and press that left knee away and feel that whole body stretch. And you might want to look towards that right arm to get that rotation in the neck. Remember, you're not hurting elbows or shoulders. All right, let that left arm come down so the forearm is parallel. You bend that right knee. Keep that left leg active. Reach for that ankle or that foot, never straining. Press that right knee away as you rotate that heart now towards that left arm, that left bicep, maybe looking towards that left arm so you get that full rotation. And then releasing that and letting yourself once again reset with the windshield wiper, with the rock, with the circle. And then lift yourself up into that table position. And I think it feels amazing. Remember to keep your girdles engaged. You always do that first, and then do your cat and cow in the middle back. And then press yourself back into your child, completely resetting there. Inhaling and exhaling, and then coming and finding yourself on your back. Take your time as you get there. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself as you need to. Find your feet on the ground to start with. Keep your trunk heavy. Same thing, you want to keep that clock in that place of support. You want to keep trying to pull those shoulder blades down into the mat. That collarbone slides apart as the heart lifts. Try to feel all of your ribs all the way down, the back of your body touching the mat. And only if you can keep those low backs not from hurting do you pick up and rock and circle. Inhaling and exhaling. If this does hurt your low back, bring those feet back flat to the ground. Inhale, exhale. Let that circle happen. Let that windshield wiper happen. Breathing full and deep. And then let yourself get really long. Lengthen down. Arms above your head. Breathing full and deep. First, pull those shoulders out of, or pull those shoulders up by your ears so you're stretching, and then point those toes so you have got, you're not really engaging your glutes, you're just pointing the toes, and then engage your glutes and press through your heels, and then pull those shoulders down into place. So your arms might come apart a little bit, but they're still reaching up above your head. And so really feel your shoulder blades engaged as you bring those arms up above your body, and you're reaching up above, but I want you also to be pulling down into the mat. And then lift those legs, keep those behinds heavy. Inhale and exhale. Keep pressing through those heels, breathing full and deep. And then this can be hard, but it's so fun. Right arm, left leg, opposite, go down, pull up. And then the other side. Inhale and exhale. You're breathing full and deep. Couple more. Try to keep those other limbs from moving, and then pause, hug in, rock, circle, windshield wiper, whatever feels good. Letting yourself reset, and then feet hip distance apart. Just some gentle bridges, hands down by your sides. Keep that neck long by keeping your chin tucked. Remember to find those balls and heels and lower and lift a few times. Pause in your bridge. If you want to roll your shoulders under, please do. And then let yourself come back down. Make sure you do roll your shoulders under, and then do a little reset with a rock and a circle. And then feet back flat. right ankle on top of that left knee. Press that through that right heel. Engage from that right glute. Really try to keep that right glute and your left glute on the mat. Even if you decide to pick up that left foot, your glutes are still on the mat. And if you reach through, you bring yourself back down and you still try to keep your glutes on the mat and you bring your shoulders back. So keep those sockets engaged. Keep that neck long. Breathing full and deep. This also works great with just a block. Inhaling and exhaling. Breathing full and deep. And then you're going to bring that right ankle off that left knee and you're going to set up for the other side. So if you do like the block, keep those glutes heavy, press through that heel. Remember, you never have to go further than it feels good to you. So if it doesn't feel good to reach through that opening, then keep just breathing in this pigeon with your legs just really active and your upper body really active as you keep trying to pull those shoulder blades down into the mat. Trying to keep that neck nice and long. They're always trying to feel all of your ribs on the floor. It takes a while because to get them to pull down, but when you do, it's amazing. All right, you're going to let that left leg come off. You're going to rock. You're going to circle. You're going to windshield wiper. Whatever feels good. Breathing full and deep. And then back with whatever feels good on your low back as far as having the feet up or the feet down, right? You're the one that knows. You're in charge. So spread those arms, feel those shoulder blades connect, and let those knees fall to one side. I'm letting them fall to the left. So my navel is going to the left, same direction as my knees. My heart is staying towards the sky, and I am really engaging that right arm. So no part of the back side of that right arm is lifted from the mat. And then my gaze, if your eyes are even open, maybe your eyes aren't even open, your nose, I should say, is pointing wherever feels comfortable to you. And then you're coming through center. Move however feels good, and then make your way to the other side. Try to keep that left side anchored down, breathing full and deep. Remember, your nose is pointing wherever feels good to you. And then back through center, rock, circle. Happy baby might feel really good here. Reach for those legs, those feet, keeping them really bent. Keep trying to bring those arms and those whole back bodies to the mat as you move and rock. Inhale and exhale, and then you can let yourself squeeze those legs in, even pull yourself, and then stretch out into relaxation. Please see if you can lay here for a few moments in relaxation. If you would rather come to seated and be in a seated meditation pose, please do that. Thank you so much for practicing. I hope you enjoyed. Take care. Namaste.